Welcome to the next video. So you're not just getting you're not building a child with a perception of self, of the world, of stories, of whimsy that is like American white centric stories. I would never raise a child like that because it affects their ability to think critically, to view the world, to perceive, and to discern. Folk tales are one of the most parables, allegories, folk tales are amazing ways of teaching concepts. Satire is another one. Satire is incredibly important. It's a way of teaching concepts that a person will be able to consume at whatever age your target audience is. So I give that example, and I was using it in the last one and using it here because what people don't understand about prediction is that whatever is being predicted through the human suffers from distortion no matter what they do. And so I think we'll dive in here. And so I created a basic framework for you guys so that you could understand perception and prediction and relaying of that prediction, and then the reception of that prediction and the analysis, the distortion that occurs along that chain. And I do it in that way, and I break it down very, very simple. And I think I'm gonna write this. I need to get a whiteboard, and I think I may just put it down on paper, and I'll give you a very short version with some visuals of what I'm talking about. So let's dive in. And if there are parts of this that you don't understand, I'll be going over this over time in this extended list to give you a framework to understand. I'm not giving you and I pause right there to acknowledge the fact that I'm not giving you the definitive framework for prediction. What I'm doing is creating an oversimplified version so that you can begin to lay a foundation to better understand what's going on. Like what's happening when somebody predicts, okay? And I can't give you in this video series an extensive look at all of it because to discuss that, it will take time. And quite frankly, if I had my druthers and people really wanted to do it, I would love to do a documentary series. I want to produce a documentary series on predicting and do it in a way that has regional, global experts that are talking about their area of expertise, and then that allows us to then weave larger concepts in, because I don't know, I just find it endlessly fascinating. And there are a lot of people out there who find prediction to be fascinating and trying to understand what it is, how it works. And I'm going to give you a really oversimplified framework so that we can have like a more extended discussion on distortion, because I'm realizing as I've been picking this apart for the past couple of weeks that that in my effort to simplify, I'm really am leaving a lot out. But hopefully for this kind of format, the oversimplification like works. Let me know if you're just like, what the heck? What? But so here we go. So here's the model. And here's the oversimplified version of how prediction works. So information will be made available. Okay? Information is made available. Let me see if I can have enough space in here to sort of open this up for you visually a bit more. Information will be made available like a film. Sorry, I had to reach up. I told you guys to reach up into my extended skill set and then kind of help you guys using my extended skill set. And so that's what I'm doing. So if you see me doing stuff like, oh, here's what you're supposed to say, is because things will make me aware of how I really need to explain it. And so I'll do that. Sorry, it seems a little bit kooky. If you watch enough video of people who are far seeing, some of us, we do seem kooky. It's because we are connected. We are, like every other human, we are computers who receive and process data. When you are perceiving and processing data that extends beyond what other people perceive, that process because they haven't experienced it, can seem a little bit weird. Let's just call it inspiration. I think because that's writers. Anybody else here a writer? Writers will call it inspiration. Those of us who have a more advanced like library card will reach up and get information. You'll understand how inspiration works. So I'm saying that here so that I can remind myself I got to do a teaching series on that one. That would be cool. Maybe I'll do some AI generated stuff, and I think it would be work better. But back to what I was saying, the process is this: information will be made available. Like I was saying, the example is in the way a movie is made available. That movie is created. That information is there. Okay, and you can go and watch the movie. Okay, because this is the process of prediction simplified. You can, if you have the capacity, you can go and watch that movie. And then you can then go to other people like we do here on TikTok when we talk about what we saw at the movie and our interpretation of it. But when you were relaying that movie, okay, you were going through a process of explaining what you saw, what you heard, right? And when you are explaining what you saw and what you heard at that movie, right? There is a process. There are errors that can occur. So I'm going to keep this really short. Errors that can occur when you're trying to explain to people what you saw and what you heard. How you explain to people what you saw and what you heard will be a product of your world view. I've explained this before about how a person's worldview and their character, and I went into it last week, how your character, right, your propensity to lie, deceive, cheat, and steal, manipulate, that's the aspect of your character, as part of the aspect of your character that I'm talking about. And your worldview, how you were raised, what you believe, like how that affects your predictions and how that creates the distortion. Well, going back to the movie metaphor, when you go and watch that movie and then you go out to your friends, your listeners or whatever, and you create content about that movie and you relay the plot of that movie. Let's just keep it there to the plot to keep it simple. And you take that sorry, let me back up. When you relay that plot, there are errors that can occur. You may forget a bit of information that you saw and that you heard. You may get real sassy with or get real creative, very sassy, very, however you are, however you tell a story. So that while you are relaying what you saw in that movie to your friend, like, you may not accurately relay that information. And the way that you relay that information, what you saw and you heard in that movie, will be affected by your worldview, who you are, your ability to remember what happened. Most people, they'll go and see a movie. Like, I'll watch a TikTok and then I start to stitch a TikTok and talk about it. Like I did one that had some stats. I watched one that had some stats about voting in Texas, and I was beginning to make another TikTok, and I got the stat wrong, right?